What up? What up? What up? What's up, America and beyond? You're now tuned into another installment of Brooklyn Beards and Ball Sports Show. I am your acting substitute co-host, Scrap, Mr. Philadelphia. I'm here with big bro Don. How you feeling today, Don?
Oh man, all good, man. Listen, I think Rod, I don't know if he's on some type of strike. I think he said he was not going to return to the show until the Lakers were out of the play-in position. So I don't know if he's going to come back this season because they're, I think, in 9th or 10th. So I don't know. They'll be in the play-in for sure. They have like an 87% chance. So I don't know if he's going to come back. He's on some type of strike. Maybe he's doing some.
Well, they play in veterans. They won the play-in tournament, the in-season tournament. So this is familiar territory for them.
right. That's true. Yeah, man. We're gonna have a good show. Some really interesting things to discuss. Talking about LeBron and some other things. But everyone, please do us a favor: like, share, subscribe to our Facebook, YouTube page, our Instagram, our TikTok.
Absolutely.
Listen, leave comments.
If you're on here live, comment.
Yeah,
comment.
absolutely.
If you're on here live, comment, please. It's no way you agree with everything we saying. That's how I got here. Disagreeing with everything they were talking about.
Right, exactly. Disagreeing will get you on the show for sure. Yeah. We're going to have a great show. I'm looking forward to it. And, man, without further ado, if I can find what I'm looking for, let's get into it. Okay, this is a big topic. Just the other night, I was with one of my boys, and we were watching kind of the end of the Clippers game versus the Lakers. And Clippers looked like the game was just about done. They had the Lakers, they were blowing them out. And then in the fourth quarter, LeBron went on a ridiculous run. I think he scored more points than the Clippers' entire team in the fourth quarter. I don't know if he hit 4 or 5 threes, something just crazy. I think he scored 19 points, something to that effect.
19.
Great. Yeah, unbelievable fourth quarter. They were able to come back and ultimately win the game. And then I saw a podcast by Kevin Garnett and Paul Pierce. And Kevin Garnett alluded to it. Now, this has been discussed in the past, right? Because this is what you have to ask yourself. When you see things that are just, you can't. Now, LeBron is a great player. Let me start with that. Before I get into just the question, LeBron is a great player. He is one of the greats, arguably top 1 or 2 ever to play the game, right? Just his skill set, what he possesses, size, speed, ability, ability to pass, score. We've never seen anything like it. But it gets to a point where you have to ask yourself, if you haven't seen something like this, is LeBron a one of one? Is there no other player ever just a player like LeBron, his size, his speed? Now, in 2013
and 20 years in, and 20 years in too,
and in year 2021. So let me just, as a point of reference, LeBron James currently is averaging 35 minutes a game, 25, 7, and 8. Okay, for his career, right? This is when he was young. He's year 2021. His career average is 27, 8, and 7 on 38 minutes. So in his 21st season, he's only averaging 3 minutes less per game, playing at a high level, as I just explained.
Well, he's getting old. He's getting old.
Exactly.
He can only play 35 minutes a night now.
So the question is, Kevin Garnett had mentioned this, that LeBron was on steroids, right? And so we hate to think that our professional players are using anything to enhance their performance. Now, keep in mind, in September of 2023, his wife and 2 associates were involved or named in a PED investigation, right? So, unfortunately, time will tell if it happens. It may never come out that LeBron James is actually using performance-enhancing drugs. Now, you have to have a performance to be able to enhance. But the question is, Scrap, do you think that is it inconceivable to think that LeBron has ever or is currently using some type of performance-enhancing drugs? Because, we always say the old adage, Father Time, is undefeated. But LeBron James has been able to not only defeat Father Time, he has been able to beat Father Time up until this point. Because every other great player, and I'll say this and then I'll pass it to you. LeBron James, his entire career, plays above the rim. Typically, right? So we have to go through the whole course of how we've seen the NBA, great players, high flyers. That typically kind of wanes away. You kind of lose the above the rim and you have to, reinvent your game. LeBron James doesn't have to reinvent his game. So that is a little questionable to me, that you have been a high flyer for 21 years. What do you say, man?
I don't through all this, that never crossed my mind that he was, juicing or anything. So I mean, I would have to see, something else would have to come out, for me to say that. Just based off Paul Pierce, who hates him, and KG, who's like his greatest adversaries for a couple years, them putting that out there, I mean, that's not really enough for me to bite. But I see what you're saying. I had no idea about his wife in the PED link. I didn't know about that. I would have to look into that. But is it inconceivable? No, it's not. I don't think nothing would surprise me. But what's funny? LeBron has let me see. Every time an athlete does an all-world out-of-body experience in their respective field, they get tested. Embiid has 70. Karl Towns had 50 or 60 that night. No test. Tristan Thompson scored 4 points and got tested and came back dirty. What is going on? So I think what LeBron is, if he is, I don't think the league will ever let that come out.
Oh yeah.
If he is, I don't think, do I think he is? No, I don't think he is. I mean, who knows these days? It's so much stuff out here. All I hear is that, he spends $2 million on his body in the off season. He sleeps he got Michael Jackson's old bed, the hyperbolic chamber, and he,
right.
He uses the Old Spice, exfoliating body scrub. His skin is pristine. His body is a temple. Yes, if it came out, I wouldn't believe it, but I would be more surprised if it actually came out, because I don't think the NBA would let that out. If he's just sometimes you gotta accept great. Yeah, I mean, I definitely accept the greatness for what it is. That's why I'm not gonna sit here and say that I think he's juicing, because like I said, until this came out, that never crossed my mind, because I just watch sports for what they are. But now that Don mentioned his wife was linked to some PEDs, and like I said, I can't really take KG's and Paul Pierce's, that'd be like me saying that, Rod's juicing because he's a Cowboy fan. His natural, bad blood there. So, I don't know, man. But like I said, if it came out that he was, would I be surprised? Absolutely not. Players do what they got to do to get ahead and stay ahead. And like you said, you got to have a performance to enhance. And normally, when a player has those type, AJ Brown had 3 touchdowns one game, immediately after the game he got tested. It's just, Schwarber hits 2-3 homers, he gets tested. They say these tests are random, but they're anything but random. But I would think that after a performance like that, fourth quarter, 4 or 5 threes, and he just can't miss, and he got the fire under his feet. He's on fire the whole quarter, and nothing came out. I mean, maybe he was tested, maybe he wasn't. Who knows, man? But I don't think that if he was, I think the league would do everything in their power to not let that get out, because he's like the face of basketball for the past 20 years. You know, if it comes out that he's, you know, dirty, then what does that make the league look like? Because then people are like, you mean to tell me, you know, this is your guy for 20 years and y'all just finding this out? Like, come on, like something's ain't right. So I'm hoping for the sake of the game and for the sake of, you know, his legacy that he's not, that is just something that his wife was doing on her own. But
come on now. So this is now, and respect to Canandre about accepting greatness for what it is. We do accept greatness for what it is. But
absolutely.
To suggest that, and this is just, I don't know personally, right? I'm just putting this out there because there's a really, really good article on Deadspin, I think put out September of 2023, that highlights Savannah James and his close associates who directly dealt with Anthony Bosch, who is the mastermind
Balco?
behind Balco. Yes.
Oh.
Yes. Yeah. So
yeah, I got to do research on this.
As much as we want to make LeBron James as the player, LeBron James as the businessman, your close associates were dealing directly with Anthony Bosch, right? So are we to believe that LeBron, number one, didn't know anything about it? And from as much as he has been on top of protecting his brand, from an optics standpoint, he wouldn't have, you know, said that's a bad idea to deal directly because just people may think this is
his name linked with anything like that.
Exactly. So I think it is interesting. I would not be surprised. And I'm not saying this because when you are playing at a high level and you play at a high level and you are the face of the league, there is more pressure to stay at that level, right? LeBron doesn't, he is going back and forth and saying if he was going to have a send-off like Kobe or like a Tim Duncan where he just kind of fades into his retirement when it is indeed his last season. Well, we know LeBron wants the ceremony, right?
I can't see him going out like Tim Duncan. It'd be like Kobe times 30,000.
Exactly.
The pomp and circumstance and all that.
Absolutely. But he was trying to give like he's torn between the two departures, which one he was. I'm like, LeBron, come on.
We're not going to do that. You made a whole TV show about where you were signing for free agents.
Exactly. And now you're going to, after he's approaching, I think he's 9 points away or 18 points away from 40,000 points. You think he's just going to, at the end of his career, just be like, all right, guys, thanks for the memories.
It's been real.
Walk off? Come on. Knock it off. So with all that being said and being the face, when my only thing is great players, there is a decline even to the greatest players. And the fact is that there hasn't been a decline. He's had no injuries, no major injuries.
I think once he had like a nagging hamstring throughout the whole season.
But 21 years in?
That was like, I think it was like his second season with the Lakers.
I think it was a growing pull or something he had.
Yeah,
where it was out. And so he's an Iron Man for 21 seasons.
Right.
His minutes don't decline. His scoring output and his impact on the game doesn't decline. And there's nothing that we are at least scratching or squinting about.
Yeah.
Like the whole possibility of PEDs is far-fetched. We just chalk it up. He's a great player. Hey, unquestioned. Don't worry about it. He's just great.
Yeah, I mean, I wouldn't say it's far-fetched. Like I said, if it came out, would I be surprised? Nothing surprises me these days. Absolutely not. I wouldn't be surprised. But like I said, until hearing this with his wife, that never even crossed my mind. I'm like, oh, this guy's just a cyborg or something, you know? But now that you say that, but like, wow, dealing directly with the dude, like, I'm like, Sue, you know what? That's probably why Rodden not here, because he got a book report that's due.
He has a lot of stuff he got a
book report. He got a Brandon Ayuk book report that's due.
He has a Brandon Ayuk book report. He wants to stay out until the Lakers are back to their one. Now, mind you, Lakers. So LeBron in year 21 on a back-to-back. So he already came back to save the Lakers against the Clippers. Scores 19 points in the fourth quarter. Then he follows that up with, I think, Washington, and scores 31 points. Anthony Davis had an unbelievable game, 40 and 15. And they beat Washington, which Washington, I think me, you, and a few other people we saw at the park could probably beat Washington.
I think that's who Embiid scored 70 on, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, everybody should just ball out against Washington because
they're like the punching bag of the league. They're a punching bag.
Pretty much.
Yeah, and get your highlights up.
So he was able to play once again. Great basketball. I think he was over 30 minutes, 35 minutes or more.
Right.
Scored 31 points, and they were able to beat Washington. Now they have a very challenging game today. They got the defending champs.
Okay.
So this is he did well on a back-to-back. I think they had a day off in between, and now they're playing Denver. So
one more away, you know?
That I'm not sure.
Offhand.
I'm not sure. I don't know that offhand. I know the game is 8:30 Eastern time. So we'll see
probably
what happens.
In Denver. It's probably in Denver.
It may be in Denver. So I think time will tell, but it is important to just just put that out there. Just think about that. Don't I'm not trying to detract or take away from him being a great player, but it's just like anything else. And this is not the first time. It wasn't. Kevin Garnett brought it up recently with Paul Pierce, and I get what you're saying. It could be some hate there. I don't think Kevin Garnett is the hater. Paul Pierce, yes, is a hater.
Yeah, absolutely. So who said it? Did Garnett say it or Paul Pierce said it?
Oh, Kevin Garnett. He said
Garnett
LeBron's on that new juice. Like, he was mentioning that kind of historically, and he alluded to the fact that
now was it tongue in cheek? Was he like? Oh, was he like being funny? Was it like a tongue in cheek type thing, or was he just he was serious?
He was serious, and I think he was kind of alluding to the fact that this is a known thing. Like, LeBron has been maybe blood doping, whatever. He's on this, Lance
Manny Pacquiao
type of thing. Yeah, right, exactly.
Spinning his blood and all this.
Spinning his blood and doing a whole bunch of stuff. That blood is breakdancing, whatever it is. But it is what it is. Time will tell.
Right.
We'll see. He'll still be playing at a high level. But of course, for the shield, that is the NBA, of course, they could never let this get out.
Oh, absolutely not. Absolutely. If that comes out, it's going to be leaked by like a anonymous source that's probably like, got sour grapes about something. Like, they'll never let this out at all.
Right. Ex-trainer or someone that worked with him that's now disgruntled, they may put it out. But I'll say this, as long as LeBron continues to play ball, and I'm not talking about NBA, I'm talking about as long as he plays ball, his secrets are safe. LeBron decides that for whatever reason,
one payment don't go.
He wants exactly.
The envelope stop.
He takes any activism too far, all types of stuff. They will have pictures of him. They'll have him in, they'll have all the footage of everything. Right.
Him with a trench coat picking up a suitcase. Yeah.
Right. They'll have the whole,
6'12" with a trench coat
in his luggage, in a private jet, a bag will fall open with a whole bunch of
pills, all kind of stuff fall out. Yeah.
They know how to humble people.
Yeah.
All right, let's move on to a team that is still in LA. Unfortunately, last night, Westbrook breaks his hand playing against Washington again. Washington, I'm telling you, you punch down on them, but if you punch down, you could break your hand.
Yeah,
he broke his hand, and so the Clippers.
And he used to play for them. He used to play for them too.
Right, exactly.
So he was probably trying to have one of those nights.
Of course.
Yeah.
Of course, everybody wants to get their statement. I'm back type of game against Washington. It seems like it's low hanging fruit, easy to do. He breaks his hand. Now the Clippers have been playing at a high level. Does that hurt their chances of making a deep run? Now, before you say, what is Westbrook doing? He is affording Paul George and Kawhi Leonard minutes to rest. He is a person that has helped out with the second team, been able to kind of keep the offense going.
Right.
And he's a good, he's an energy guy, if nothing else. So do you think this hurts? Now, I don't think he's done for the season. You can break your hand and in a few weeks be back to, playing. It's not a problem. Now, obviously, everybody hand is part of the ball. Everybody's going to be going for that hand, but you can come back from it. It's not something that I think is going to be detrimental to their season, but they still have to make up for those minutes that Westbrook was providing as a rest and in rotation. Now, Ty Lue is a great coach. I'm sure he'll be able to get people, fit them in where it matters, and, be able to supplement other people playing to, take up for that void of Westbrook. But what do you say?
Yeah, well, the hurt hand kind of hits home because, Team Phillips is dealing with my star athlete. She broke her finger, my baby Lana, in practice. She broke her finger. Get better, Muff. I love you. But with Westbrook, yeah, I don't think it's depending on when he comes back and how he comes back. Because right now they're playing good enough. They're going to be in the playoffs, and they're going to be a tough out for whoever they face. So long as they can keep the ship afloat, and I think they're going to have to lean more on the Terrence Manns of the world, and those Norman Powells. Keep the offense. But like you said, he steadied the offense while George rests, Harden rests, Kawhi rests, because Russ really ain't never seen a shot he don't like.
Never.
So he goes. He's like a bull in the china shop going to the basket. I got to see the play where he actually hurt himself. Was he like coming down off a dunk or something and it fell off?
It looked like it was under the basket. I don't know if the ball. You know how Westbrook sometimes he loses control, like he's driving to the hole. And I don't know if everyone was trying to go for the ball. It appeared when I looked at it, the ball was kind of loose under the basket. People were going for it, and I don't know if someone swiped and inadvertently broke his hand. And I think it was Jordan Poole. I think it was Jordan Poole that was involved some way, somehow. Jordan Poole. So there's probably some bad blood between the Wizards and what you said. I want to get a good get back. So
yeah, but hopefully they won't lose ground, because even though they went and stacked the team up, I wouldn't mind seeing the Clippers actually win. Have they ever won the championship? I don't think they ever won one, right?
No,
I wouldn't mind seeing them have a deep run, because everybody's saying now Clippers Bucks final. Well, they saying that in Philly, because on the Philly radio, because they like you got Harden on the Clippers and Doc Rivers with the Bucks. So if they met in the finals, who would you root for? I root for anybody. Yeah. So just sports talk radio in general. But
I don't know about Bucks. I don't know about
me
Bucks.
neither. I don't. No, absolutely not.
Let me
be
tell
honest
you.
with you. Go ahead.
Okay, I think the Celtics, man, the way the Celtics are playing, it's theirs to lose, right? I mean, they're clicking on all cylinders.
Right.
That would be a colossal failure if they didn't make it at least to the Eastern Conference Finals. And then honestly, if they didn't make it to the finals at a minimum, the way their team is playing, of course, injuries are the great equalizer, right? So teams that seem unbeatable, one significant injury can change everything. But
you're preaching to the choir. You're preaching to the choir with that. Look at my team.
Exactly.
We've been a punching bag ourselves for the past month and a half. So
yeah, it makes a difference when your star player or even a key rotational player is out of it. It impacts, because what it does is, if your team is able to function and you have all your players, there's not a great wear and tear on any one particular player. But when you lose a significant player, everybody's minutes goes up. The wear and tear on every player is increased. So it's like, then if you have a problem with shot selection, right? Because there are differences. Some players can create their own shots. Some players create shots for others. So if you're missing someone who is a shot creator, it hurts. It hurts.
Yeah.
So
especially when your offense is like based around them, like
of course.
Your
he's the focal point.
Everything.
Yeah.
Oh
absolutely.
my goodness. So so it's tough. But I think that, like, as far as the East, I can't really count Miami out until they're out. It's just once the playoffs start and they start that whole Heat culture thing, That's real. Like, they all buy in. Jimmy makes them like buy into whatever he's preaching. They buy in and they go to a whole nother gear, a whole nother level. Like, I did not see them beating Boston last year. Like, I thought Boston was going to waltz into the finals and we was going to see Boston and Denver. And Miami was like, absolutely not. We're going. We might not beat them, but we're going to beat them. They're not going. Okay, so until Miami is out, I don't. And the thing about it, their team is really like Jimmy Butler, Bam Adebayo, and a bunch of role players. But they, like I said, they come together in a way that, oh my God.
There's a Met. A Met's in the building.
I mean, he was my relief this morning.
Oh, okay. Mention the Knicks for what though? They have to come back healthy, right? Right now, I wouldn't mention them. I mean, if they're healthy, the Knicks are a really good team. Honestly, really, really good team.
They're really good because they're doing way better than everybody expects. See, with the Knicks, with the Knicks fans, what they do is, right, and I hear this, they set the bar like almost at the floor. They set it so low. Shut up, Amit. They set the bar so low that when they play like this, they blow up. Their heads, the fans' heads blow up. Oh my God, the Knicks are back. The Knicks are back. I was hearing that so much. And I'm like, yeah, y'all playing good because y'all finally got good players. Y'all got good pieces. But don't sit up here and say how good y'all are. And then when y'all lose, you come say, oh, well, we didn't have Julius Randle. But y'all was playing so good without him. Like, it'd be like us now. Like, we have a legit excuse or reason, whatever you want to call it. Like, we're missing 35 points a game. You know, it's just like a whole game changer. Like, we're missing that. So when we lose, and, you know, I'll be like, oh, well, Embiid's playing. Well, Embiid been not playing. Yes, and we've been losing. We've been not winning without him, you know. But the Knicks are playing good because they play, like, I actually watched our game against the Knicks, you know. And what I can say is they get away with a lot. Like, they got this thing now in the league where you're allowed to push off. Like, I see that so much, and I'm like, how is that not an offensive foul? Like, it's extended. Like, you get to them and they bump, and you see the arm go out, then the players fall, and then they shooting wide open jump shots. Like, it's like they get away with so much. And I don't know, maybe it's their style of basketball that they, you know, the refs, you know, turn. We have one of the deepest benches in the league. Okay, Amit.
Let me ask you a question. How deep, how far do you think the Knicks go? We want to kind of get you on record. No, I want to hear this. So, you know, when it doesn't happen, we can reference his own words. These are the brothers' words, not yours.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So how far are they gonna go with me?
Where they going? Conference finals. Okay. And who are they gonna play in the conference finals, Amit?
You're gonna say Boston. You see, that's what I'm saying. Another person that's like overlooking Miami. Healthy. Oh, doing if.
So
okay.
He taking a page out of Rod's book.
Yeah, we doing if now.
Rod is here even when he's not here because he has,
like I said, Boston.
He got his peeps. So now I'll say this: in the pecking order, do you think the Knicks are better than Milwaukee currently? The way they play now, you think they're better?
They're playing better, but I don't think they're a better team.
And all it matters is when they play. If they had to play in a series, who would win?
If they had to play in a series right now, I probably would lean towards the Knicks only because of Doc Rivers. I think he'll find a way to like mess it up and just cause a whole lot of turmoil with the team. But like if Milwaukee washed them, that's in New York. If they got washed, I wouldn't be surprised. You know, I mean, Milwaukee has, you know, Giannis. He's like unstoppable. They got Lillard, but Lillard, it depends on what Lillard shows up. Because sometimes Lillard just like to shoot from like half court all the time. You know, like if we have a good attacking Lillard and Middleton, like they got pieces. It's just they so inconsistent. Like the Knicks, you know, it seemed like they always find an open shot and they more times than not make it. Like I watched it. I watched, you know, the dude they just got from the Pistons that we were supposed to get, Bogdanovich. He hit like 7 threes against us or something. Like he just, you know, they got shooters. Then they shoot from everywhere. DiVincenzo, Bogdanovich. They got who's the other kid? Alec Burke. And, you know, they got, you know, the little
Yeah,
guy who gets.
they got a really good team.
Yeah,
but
they got
realize,
a bunch of tweeners. Yeah.
In the playoffs, the benches shrink, right?
Oh, yeah.
And so the
like
rotation changes, right?
Yeah.
So
7, 8, maybe.
When you get, and this is how I look at it, deep benches matter, right? It depends as far as home and away, if players play better at home or away. And it also depends with experience, right? In those big moments, when it gets tight and it's crunch time, will experience carry you over? Will people, you know what to do with the ball? So I would give, from a championship pedigree and the experience, I would give Milwaukee.
Oh yeah, well, you put it that way, because you're not going to see the Trey McBrides and the Quentin Grimes on the court in the guts of the game when it's
everybody's going to be in street clothes and everybody's just going to be.
Or they're going to be the guy that does this whenever something happens. They're going to be this guy.
Exactly. Everybody going to be. You're absolutely right. That's all they're going to do in the playoffs. Yeah. So I think it changes, and so then you go player for player, who is impact, right? And as well as the Knicks have played, they have, you know, really good, promising pieces. You know, the point guard's good. OG, he's been a big impact player going there. But Giannis and Dame Lillard, I think that would give them an advantage if it came to that. But I think the East is going to be interesting. Like you said, you can't rule out Miami. You can't rule out, of course, Boston, who is head and shoulders. And if
even
Embiid is Indiana, and Indiana, what's crazy is Indiana seems to have, you know, Milwaukee's number. I mean, they've pretty much dominated them for the most part all season long. Yeah. So it's going to be interesting how it all plays out. There is still a factor that I think the market of the New York Knicks does help them get deeper, because it's always exciting when the Knicks are a good team, right? So some of the smaller market teams may fall to the wayside when it comes to that, because they want the Mecca of basketball, you know, who has been revitalized with these pieces, to be a big part of the playoffs. So I can see that happening.
I wouldn't really throw us in there, because even if Embiid comes back, he hasn't played in a month, 2. By the time he comes back, he hasn't played in 3 months. So he's going to be out of shape, and you know, it's just going to be the same old thing. So I'm not Orlando. No, absolutely not. Orlando. No. See, Amit is a creature. Amit gets caught up. He gets caught up in the moment. So he thinks that Orlando playing this good, they're going to go to the conference finals. No, they probably won't make it out of the first round. Like, they're too young, too inexperienced, and they really ain't really got that many. They don't really got that many good players. They got Banchero, and who else is on Orlando? Like Jalen Suggs and. You know, those dudes. Who else? Wendell Carter.
Which court's somebody's son? What's his name? He used to play for the Knicks. His son plays on that team. I can see his face, but I can't.
Yeah, that guy.
Was it Anthony Davis's son? Not Anthony Davis.
Hubert Davis?
No, it'll come to me. His son plays there. He's the point guard for
he's talking about Cole Anthony, Greg Anthony.
Oh, Greg Anthony's son.
Yeah. Okay, the one that was in the dunk contest and decided to dunk with some Timbs on.
Right.
Yeah, he's okay. He comes off the bench though.
He set back the East Coast with that. He really hurt us with that.
Yeah, he's okay. Yeah, Orlando. No, sorry to bust your bubble of me, but Orlando's not doing nothing, man. They're not going nowhere. I can't see them making it out of the first round, man. Nope.
So let's switch it over to the NFL really quick. Eric Bieniemy, offensive coordinator for Kansas City Chiefs. Kansas City Chiefs had, obviously have dominated. They've had a high level of success, 2 Super Bowls while he was the offensive coordinator. But the knock was that, Andy Reid is making all the calls. Eric Bieniemy is just a figurehead holding the clipboard, but he's not really making the calls, right? The offense that was dominating, he's not really making the calls, right? So he made a decision to, I have to get from up under Andy Reid to show what my skills are actually as a head coach or offensive coordinator, and maybe eventually get a head coaching position. He goes to the Washington Commanders, and it was not terrible. They were leading in, as far as a rookie quarterback was leading in passing yards, and they had kind of an explosive offense. There was a lot. They were throwing the most in the league. But ultimately, you can only do what you can do with the personnel you have, right? And then there was a fire sale. They started getting rid of their main defensive players during the season because I guess they're retooling. They must have known something that we didn't at the time, that there was going to be a huge turnover, and they were going to try to, get off big contracts. They were going to try. Now they have, an opportunity to get a top 5 draft pick. They can get a new quarterback. They would just revitalize the team. New ownership. Eric Bieniemy, after having somewhat of a successful season as an offensive coordinator, now finds himself as the offensive coordinator, not for another NFL team, but for UCLA. So the question I have for you is, unfortunately, there were a lot of African-American coaches that were, I shouldn't say unfortunately. Fortunately, there were a lot of African-American coaches that were hired in this coaching cycle. Unfortunately for Eric Bieniemy, he was not.
He wasn't one of them. Yeah.
So now he's at UCLA as the offensive coordinator. Should he have ever left Kansas City, or did he have to do it ultimately to just prove himself, even if he has to take a couple of steps back? Because he's taking several steps back, or as people say, he's taking several seats, because he's not only going from a Super Bowl winning team where he had arguably the greatest quarterback to being an offensive coordinator at another NFL team to now being completely out of the league. What do you say?
Well, what was the circumstances of him leaving Kansas City? Was he pushed out, or did he just say, I'm out of here? I'm trying to,
Well,
go
Andy Reid said Andy Reid was giving him credit for actually calling plays, but it's one of those things. As long as you got Andy Reid, who in most people's minds is an offensive genius, anybody under them, although, and I'll say this, other coaches that have coached under Andy Reid with less of a resume have been able to spin that into head coaching positions. For whatever reason. And it just might be it's Eric Bieniemy. It might be him. He might be the reason and what prevents him from getting a head coaching job.
Because it was some reports that came out that he was rubbing players the wrong way. I guess his coaching style, his approach and all that. So maybe that was it. But I mean, if I'm somewhere and, we're winning championships at a professional level, I don't maybe he thought the grass was greener. If he can go, be his own man, because if he's supposed to be the mastermind behind the defense, he want to go somewhere where he could put his full ideas and schemes on the field and see how it works out. Maybe it was one of those type of things why he left. But I don't know why he never caught on as a head coach. So maybe that didn't work for him being under Andy Reid. Sometimes it just don't work. Sometimes what works for you don't work for me. Maybe it looked like this, but I want to be more than just Andy Reid's, number 2. I want to be the number 1 guy, And sometimes it's coaching is like that because, some guys want to be the top guy. They want to have at least the shot. Because the same thing could be said about Deuce Staley. For years, everybody thought he was going to at least get the offensive coordinator job in Philly, or he wanted to be a head coach. I think we never promoted him higher than running backs coach, and then I think he went to Detroit. Was it? And
I think so.
I think he might have got an offensive coordinator job in Detroit, but I know he couldn't get in Philly. And then the last year, he's like, all right, you know what, I'm not doing this no more. I'm moving on to another team. So I don't know. Maybe I don't know, like I said, like in a perfect world, he'd have stayed in Kansas City and kept, raking in the championships and, getting, that building that resume to where maybe he might get a coaching job. But like I said, maybe it's his personality. Some people are just not people. You're not a people person.
But I mean, listen, his resume was great enough. I mean,
right.
You had, just think about it, when they had Tyreek, they had the #1 offense, right? They were able to score. And then even when Tyreek left, they were still able to get a Super Bowl, right?
Right.
Everyone thought that their team was going to be down in the dumps. You're losing a prolific offensive weapon that takes the top off. And most defenses can't really, with the combination of Patrick Mahomes and the speed of Tyreek, that was unbeatable. And they were able to still somehow, some way win the Super Bowl. So Eric Bieniemy's resume was good enough.
Yeah, well, like you said earlier, it's coaches that's like every year, whatever, like the new coaches that takes his team, to the conference finals and beyond. Oh, here, the little finger thing came up. But, every year, coaching trees are poached every year. Like it happened with, the Rams with McVay. He went to the Super Bowl. Everybody came and poached his whole staff. Happened with us last year. We went to the Super Bowl. Frank Reich's going. The defensive coordinator. Well, good riddance to him. Jonathan Gannon, he's going. So, like you said, people with lesser resumes get looks. People that haven't done half what Eric Bieniemy has done is getting looked as, head coaches. And like I said, that must come back down to him as a person. They probably just like, he's a headache. We probably don't want to deal with him.
Yeah, we have to kind of put 2 and 2 together that it has to be him. Robert brings up a good point that Ron Rivera. Now, I was thinking that Ron Rivera was just kind of a lame duck coach, and they were grooming Eric Bieniemy to be his replacement.
Right.
But they just, once Magic and that whole team came in, they just cleaned house. Magic sent out a few tweets. We want to thank Ron Rivera for his years of service. Like, Magic knows how to lay it on thick when he is getting you up out of
this face I'm making is because one of the owners is the guy that owns the Sixers. He's one of the owners. Yeah. And he owns the New Jersey Devils. Like, this dude is just like,
wow.
Yeah, he's all over the place, man.
So Howell was getting killed. You're right. The offensive line.
Oh yeah, he was getting murdered.
Him.
Unless they played us. The only team he looked like Joe Montana against was the Eagles. Like, he threw for 900 yards in 2 games against us. So
right, yeah. So I guess he still has an opportunity, right? If Eric Bieniemy can, because UCLA is a big enough program, right? If he can get UCLA, because I mean, look at Chip Kelly, right? Chip Kelly, they'll give Chip Kelly opportunities. What he did with the Oregon Ducks, and they'll give him an opportunity. If he does, then he can always. And let me just say this: if you get your cop with the NIL deals and the fact they'll pay coaches from a money standpoint, you can make just as much as a coach, but he's an offensive coordinator. You can make just as much as a head coach in college as you can in the NFL. So it's just a matter of getting there and winning. So hopefully Eric Bieniemy is able to get UCLA's offense clicking and get them to a level where, of course, every year there's about anywhere from 5 to 8 coaching jobs that will present themselves. Maybe he'll get another opportunity and see what happens.
In the SWAC somewhere.
Eric Bieniemy will become a winner, a great coach in the college ranks in order to get a head coach job in the NFL at this point. He was the problem. Yeah, okay, I agree. Yeah, we think that
we came to that conclusion. Yeah,
with that resume, people are supposed to be knocking down your door to have you coach. Absolutely. You coach Patrick Mahomes. You were under Andy Reid, Tyreek Hill, Travis Kelce.
That unstoppable offense. Yeah, what? Yeah, absolutely. So
and
it
to
had
a large
to be him.
degree, you were getting credit to be somewhat, if not a contributor, an architect to that, unstoppable offense. So for him to have to go back to the college ranks as an offensive coordinator, not even a head coach, is a little, he'll be okay. He'll be all right.
Yeah, he'll land on his feet.
He'll land on his feet.
He got to work on himself. That's what he has to do. He has to work on himself, man.
Yeah, and that's, sometimes humbling situations get you to reevaluate yourself and maybe look at it, because even in his press conference, and we'll move on, even in his press conference, he seemed combative and braggadocious, but maybe that was still some of that coming. Maybe there was promises that he was going to be elevated to the head coach after Ron Rivera. Maybe part of it was trying to, emancipate himself and free himself from that stigma of Andy Reid. Like, I'm my own man and I'm coming here and we're going to do stuff a certain way. And then there was him butting heads with Ron Rivera. There was some things along the lines that it has to be a personality flaw that is preventing him from being a head coach. Absolutely. Time will tell. But speaking of Kansas City,
it took us all 3 minutes to come to that conclusion that it gotta be him.
Yeah, it's gotta be him. Unfortunately, it has to be him. Speaking of the Kansas City Chiefs, we'll wrap up with this. BRITT REID, who just a couple of years ago, I think 2 years ago, I think during the Chiefs' last Super Bowl run? When the Super Bowl they lost.
Right.
Was involved in a DWI accident that left a 4-year-old with almost life-threatening injuries, a 5-year-old that has permanent brain damage. The governor of Missouri just commuted his sentence. He had 3. They only gave him, for all the damage he caused in people's lives, they gave him 3 years. And that sentence just recently, I think yesterday, got commuted to house arrest. So we have a 5-year-old. And now, of course, there was some type of monetary settlement.
Oh, of course.
But a 5-year-old that has permanent brain damage. And, here he is, he gets off, and now he has, house arrest, some community service. These are all slaps on the wrist. This is nothing. 3 years was really nothing, right? But it just goes to show you how our judicial system, how society works, and it's sometimes who you know, right? And this is unfortunate that these 2 young children, I think it was 6 people total that were injured, but 2 were really young, a 4 and a 5-year-old at the time. And some of them have injuries that they're going to have for the rest of their lives. So I think it's unfortunate that he gets off scot-free pretty much. He did 2 years and some community service. And of course, you got to understand his father, and he was an assistant coach on that team. They have means, right? So he's not living in a hovel, right? He's not in a tenement somewhere. So house arrest is probably not so bad. It's not so bad. You're not dealing with inmates. Yeah, maybe you have to wear an ankle monitor or something. Big whoop, So it's unfortunate, man. What do you have to say on this?
This really rubs me the complete wrong way because, being that I have a child that's, Bud is 7, so he's in that age range, and I'm just picturing if some guy was just drunk and careless and crashed into a car that my child was in, and now he's permanently brain damaged or whatever, have life-threatening injuries, and all he get is 3 years, and then they let him out early on top of that, and he gets house arrest. I don't even want to say where my mind would be, but it's just like you said, it's just the system is so flawed, because had that been anybody else, they would have got the book thrown at them. They would have made an example out of them. But it just goes to show that every now and again they I didn't even want to mention. I didn't, I was going, the first thing that came to my mind was Henry Ruggs. Yeah. I'm like, he killed a dog. Yeah, well, the lady too. And he's never getting out of jail. It's but this dude, Yeah, they made an example out of him, and rightfully so. You can't drive 100-something miles per hour, But it's just like drinking and driving. Like, they got so many commercials about it. It's just so, like he said, they have means. It's so many things in place for you to get home safe. When you go out drinking. They don't say don't go out drinking. They say if you're gonna go out drinking, fine, be responsible. It's commercial. Be responsible. They got MAD, Mothers Against Drunk Driving. They got every SAD against, SAD, Siblings Against Drunk Driving. They got everything against drunk driving.
Friends don't let friends drive drunk.
Exactly.
You can Uber. And I think to a degree, and I'm not sure about this, I know there is certain cases where certain teams have questionable players that may have substance abuse the team will provide you with an Uber or some type of car service.
Not even the team. Like, your dad's a millionaire. He's the coach of a Super Bowl winning team.
Right.
Like, I'm pretty sure the team has a shuttle. Hey, go pick Britt up and take him home. He's drunk. Something like anything other than what you did. Like, that was a choice that you made to get behind the wheel drunk. That was a choice that you made. And in life, you have to deal with the decisions you make. Like, you have to deal with them. But like, what lesson did he learn?
Nothing.
Ankle monitor comes off. He goes out, gets drunk again, drives again, crashes. This time he kills a bunch of people. Then what? Okay, the judge is going to look silly, and he's like, well,
I believe in reform, right?
Right.
I believe that was an isolated incident.
But how many times have we seen, like, and not to go too far left with this, but how many times have we seen, like, a certain kid or something, getting something in college, like a DUI in college or something like that, and the judge says, well, I don't want this to ruin their future, so I'm gonna go easy on them, give them probation. We're gonna drop this down to a misdemeanor or something that won't even show up on their record. Like,
what about influenza kid? That guy.
Oh my God.
Listen, that you want to talk about something that could take this show another 2 hours? There've been cases where they don't want to impact, or because they understand that once you have certain things on your record, it does affect your ability.
Future, yeah.
It affects your future, right?
Right.
So,
yeah.
Of course, they do everything in their possible to not tarnish someone's record.
To the point they send their parents to jail. The influenza, like, let me tell you something. I don't care how much influenza we got. If I'm a multi-billionaire, if my son decided to do something stupid like that, you gotta eat that.
Right.
I wasn't no influenza for me when I was younger coming up. I had to choose my decisions wisely and not do nothing stupid so that I can get to where I'm at. So now you do something stupid and I'm just he didn't know that he wasn't supposed to do that. He's not, it's the parents' fault for not telling him. Come on, man. Come on. You can't, like, it's just like, when you sent the show topics and I saw that, like, my blood just started to boil. I'm like, man,
it's
unfortunate.
Unfortunate.
For lack of a better and less controversial
there's so many other
word.
things you can say, but it's unfortunate. It's like one of those things that just, like, you just shake your head on. Now, before we end the show, we're just going to some interesting information came out, and we're going to wait for Rod to be back because I want Rod to have an opportunity to defend Jerry Jones. Jerry Jones was ordered to take a paternity test.
Take him on Maury, man. You got to go on Maury.
That's why we're going to wait till the next show. But by then, Maury may have the results of the paternity test to see if Jerry is indeed the father. But yeah, Jerry Jones, always in the news, some way, somehow, sometimes with players, sometimes with, some, big statements. We're going all in. So we're going to see if never mind. We'll see if Jerry Jones was the father.
What is he, like 80? He gotta be close to 90, right?
Listen, that don't stop nothing. Okay, Don, let me ask you this: by the league and court protecting that kind of behavior. John Morant, for example, you think that hurts them more than it helps them? If I'm understanding your question, you're asking the way the NBA protects or has protected Ja Morant, does that help the individual or does that help the league? It's selfish. Obviously, the league is built on stars, right? That's why NFL rules change to protect the quarterback so the quarterback never gets hurt, because that's the star. That's what people want to see. In the NBA, big names, especially in small markets, those players are always going to be coddled and protected because, that's it.
That's the only thing they got going. Yeah.
That's all they got. They got that star. So Zion, it doesn't matter how many people come out and say, he could have child after child, allegation after allegation. He is a big fish in a small pond. It's a small market. Zion, whether he is, on the sideline, if he's playing, it doesn't matter. He is the star. So they will do whatever it takes to protect the star. Now, Adam Silver, to his credit, tries to be a commissioner for the players, but at the same time, the players don't really appreciate that. They push back on it because they want to be coddled. Superstars are accustomed to being coddled to a large degree. And Adam Silver, he obliges. He helps them out. He is very sometimes manipulated by the fact of the NBA's success, right? You have the people, even when they said in order to get, some of the regular season awards, you had to do 65 games. And now, mind you, there's 82 games in a season, and people are like, nah, that's not fair. That's harsh. That's really? Some people, with the price of tickets, people are coming to watch their favorite player play, and that player is in street clothes. I think that they did that because of the whole load management thing. Because if a player's injured, that's one thing. But if they're injured, they're injured. But but some of them were just, hey, I'm good.
If LeBron just sit out because he's scheduled to rest that day, and I done paid $600-700 to bring my kids to see this dude, and he's dressed like us, I'm gonna have a problem with that.
Yeah.
Especially if he's not in a cast or anything. Yeah, I'm gonna have a problem with that.
Exactly.
So I can understand why they did that to, get the players more incentive to play, but they don't care about those awards.
They don't.
It's three people that's in the running for the MVP every year. It's Embiid, Jokic, and half of the season Jason Tatum. Like it's no. I mean, they're throwing names in there now. Shy's name is in there. They're mentioning him. They're mentioning.
He's a really good player, though.
He's an excellent player.
He's an excellent player.
Absolutely.
Anthony Edwards should be in there. I mean, there are players that are
Meat's going to type Jalen Brunson. He's going to say him. I know he is.
We got to wrap the show. If that comes in, then we got to wrap the show. We're gonna wrap it anyway. But listen, man. Time will tell. Rod, when you come back, add to your book report and your homework. Find out if Jerry Jones.
Hey, Rod might got a new niece or nephew, man, in Cowboy Nation, man.
Oh, that's nice. Dak got a new baby. Jerry Jones might have a new baby. It's all good.
Oh man, look at that. Little cow pokes and cow pokettes coming into the world, man. Little cow. But speaking of nephew, Thursday night, I had the privilege of going to see nephew play in person. Me and my son Elijah, we went to Fairleigh Dickinson. Merrimack played them, and I got to see Bud play in college for the first time, man.
Oh man, nice.
It was worth the price of admission, man. That kid is electric. It's crazy, right? Because he had a game maybe last week, and I think I sent y'all the video when he did the reverse, and I told y'all, and I told him, I texted him, I said, man, I'd have put that in the 12th row. I was watching, halftime. This kid dunked with two hands. He missed the dunk, but he got to do it with two hands. So I texted him yesterday, and I said, you know what? I would like to take that back. I would not have put that in the 12th row. I mess around and get dunked on, man. But yeah, he was electric. I think he finished with like 21 points, but he was just, man. The way he commands the floor, man, and just he's something, man. That's all I'm gonna say. He's something. But I had the pleasure of seeing him play in person, and he's as good. I mean, I already knew he was as good as advertised, but it was just It was an
It's something to
experience,
see
man.
it. Actually,
You have to see it. Now, even watching it on TV is not the same. Like, you have to see this kid play, man.
Yeah.
They're moving conferences too. They're switching it to another conference. I was talking to his dad. Hopefully they are in the conference where Bowling Green is, because you know, we got another kid at Bowling Green. I would like to see them play against each other. But it was
that'd be cool.
it was an experience, man. So shout out to Bud once again. Keep playing, keep working, nephew. Just keep working, man. Keep working. Everything gonna be better than all right, man. It's gonna be better than all right.
That's what's up, man. Listen, we appreciate everyone for joining the show. Scrap, shout outs to Scrap. Awesome job, man. Rod who? Hashtag Rod who?
Hashtag Rod who?
Rod who?
Yeah.
Shout outs to Infinite Audio for the music. Shout outs to Kingdom Creative for the production. Once again, everyone, please like, share, subscribe to our Facebook, YouTube page, Instagram, TikTok, you know,
Twitter,
all of the platforms.
All of the above.
Yeah, we're in everything. We're in everything. Leave a comment. Leave a show topic that you want us to discuss. Thanks for everyone. Mark Matthews, Kanandre, Amit. Thanks everyone for you know, your comments and participating with us, man. Until next time, everyone. Right, once again, Scrap, appreciate it, man. Peace.
Peace.